I spend a lot of time reading unpublished writing. I've done this when I've read slush piles for publishers and also when I've been working with students who are studying writing. One of the biggest problems that beginning writers have, and it's a problem that I've often had, is that the writing feels as an act of communication. See, it's worth remembering that writing is first and foremost a really complex technology by which an idea can be transmitted from one person's mind into another person's mind without those two people ever even having met. Maybe without them even having lived in the same century. It's not easy to transmit an idea across time and space. And I've got a wee game that demonstrates just what a tricky technology writing is. But before that, I want to give you an example of a piece of writing that fails as an act of communication. It's quite an extreme example.
This is a short story and it's called Killing Joe. There's nothing to be afraid of, I promise. I can't help it. Shh. I tried to sit still. It's okay. I could feel the faces staring at me, their faces flickering and ghostly in the strange light. I knew I needed to get out of there. I was panicking. I saw a glimmer of light at the door. Suddenly, a beam of light struck me in the face. That was when it rose up and hit me. The fear was banging, rattling, shaking my eardrums. "You need to leave," said a man. "You're dead, assholes," the words boomed out, as if yelled by some evil god. Then all I could hear was the gunfire. Bang, bang, bang. I flinched and covered my ears. "Come on," he said. "Let's get you out of here." "Good idea," said the man. I was crawling, stumbling across legs and arms. Bang, bang, bang. "So long, sucker," boomed the huge demonic voice. My feet were crunching something on the floor, and then suddenly it was over. We were in a corridor, squinting against the bright light. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I think so," I said. "I'm so sorry. You must think me an idiot." I started to sob as he put his arm around me in consolation.
What on earth is going on? I don't mean the bit before with me with a towel on my head. I mean the story. What was it? What was happening? Well, believe it or not, that was actually a story about a woman called Katie who has a panic attack while on a date at the cinema. Who knew? In a wee minute, I'll show you what the author of Killing Joe thought he or she was communicating. But first off, here's a wee game that I like to play to focus attention on just how difficult it is to communicate through writing. What I like to do is to get a group of writers, divide them into pairs. I give them a number, 1 or 2. And I ask all the number 1s to wait outside the room while I show the number 2s an image such as this. And their job is to describe this image using only words. When they're finished, the number 1s come back into the room and the number 1s have to try to recreate the image which they haven't seen using nothing but their partner's written description. Well, sometimes a pair does it brilliantly and there's only the slightest difference. Other times the resemblance is kind of sketchy. Sometimes the results are frankly bizarre. The moral of the game: writing is a complicated technology, and communicating clearly and accurately is the first ambition of every good writer. Let's have a look at what the author of Killing Joe thought he or she was communicating. Here goes.
So the first thing we've done here is to rename the story The Date, a title that communicates rather than obfuscates. Here we go. Once Tom and I had developed an easy intimacy, weeks, maybe months after our first date. He asked me why I hadn't thought to warn him about my panic attacks. "But when do you mention a thing like that?" "Hey Katie, do you fancy seeing a movie sometime?" "Sure Tom, by the way, I suffer panic attacks." The movie we went to see on our first date was a cheesy thriller called Killing Joe. Tom said we'd enjoy it in a camp sort of way. But even during the trailers, as we sat popcorn placed divisively between us, I felt something bad was going to happen. Midway through the film I started to sweat and hyperventilate, and Tom must have heard. At first he laughed, teasing me, thinking I was excited by the film. Then he saw I was unwell and started to whisper consolations. He patted my hand and said, "There's nothing to be afraid of, I promise." "I can't help it. Shh," said the woman in the row in front. I try to sit still, it's okay." I could feel the rest of the audience staring at me. Their faces were flickering and ghostly, illuminated by the car chase on screen. I knew I needed to get out of there. I was panicking. I could see the neon glow of the emergency exit sign and a line of light at the foot of the door. Suddenly a beam of light struck me in the face, the usher's torch. That was when the fear rose up and hit me. It was banging, rattling, shaking my eardrums. "You need to leave," said the usher. "You're dead, asshole!" The words, boomed out by the cinema's giant speakers, sounded like the yell of some evil god. Then all I could hear was the sound effect, gunfire, bang, bang, bang. I flinched and covered my ears. "Come on," Tom said. "Let's get you out of here." "Good idea," said the usher. Suddenly I was crawling, stumbling across legs and arms. People were standing and tutting and protecting their drinks and popcorn. "Bang, bang, bang! So long, sucker!" boomed the hero of Killing Joe. My feet were crunching popcorn into the carpet, and then, suddenly, it was over. We were in a corridor, squinting against the bright light. "Are you okay?" he asked. I think so," I said. "I'm so sorry, you must think me an idiot." I started to sob as he put his arm around me in consolation. Well, that story has 1,001 problems, but it does pass the first fundamental test. It succeeds as an act of communication. Thanks for watching and good luck with your writing.